because we are trying to bring you a lot of takes from Zimbabwe, with some saying that this is a political crisis and could deepen, and Emmerson Mnangagwa said to be fearing for his life.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, there's been a number of developments that took place in Zimbabwe today. We saw supporters of Emmerson Mnangagwa marching in Harare, supporting him, and they were saying, look, you know, we want Morgan Tsvangirai as our Emmerson Mnangagwa as our leader, and we don't want the First Lady. At the same time, there was a gathering outside Zanu-PF headquarters where a lot of people came to show support, led by Zanu-PF's youth league, to say, we want the First Lady as our Vice President, we want the First Lady to lead us. So tensions building up, and at the back of this, you've got the war vets as well, who've issued a statement today saying that they're tired of all of this, and that they actually want to take their party back, accusing the President of being anti-revolutionary, betraying the revolution, and that the firing and suspension of senior executives is not helping the party. So a lot of activity, a lot of voices that are coming through, and perhaps this, more than Joyce Mujuru when she was fired, has far more consequences simply because of the position that Emmerson Mnangagwa had enjoyed for a long time. But I believe that we've got our analyst back on the line.
Yeah, Lovemore Maduku back on the line for us. Mr. Maduku, can you hear me this time?
Yes, how are you? I'm not hearing what you're saying. What's your question?
All right, well, let's start with that. Earlier we spoke to the leader of the MDC, Morgan Tsvangirai from Johannesburg. He says that the firing of Emmerson Mnangagwa by President Robert Mugabe will destabilize Zimbabwe. Do you agree?
With respect, I do not agree. The position is very clear that the current constitution of the country does give all powers to the president, who can hire and fire these ministers, including the vice president. There is not going to be any destabilization. What is happening is Zanu-PF is decomposing, Zanu-PF is collapsing. But this country will live with or without Zanu-PF. So it doesn't matter that Mnangagwa has been fired. Ms. Mjuru was fired some 3 years ago. And as a country, we would not be destabilized merely because either Robert Mugabe has left office or Mnangagwa has been fired from his position. Those are just developments. This position occupied by Mnangagwa was an appointed position. It was not an elected position.
So what are you saying, Mr. Maduku? You're saying that Zanu-PF is falling apart anyway. Is that because you believe that the opposition has a chance to win at the polls, or to win through any other means?
Well, the opposition will win at the polls. That is what I think President Tsvangirai must have said. The position now is that Zimbabweans are very clearly watching what is happening. They will have an opportunity next year to vote in an election. I don't see any Zimbabwean now casting a vote for President Mugabe, or casting a vote for his wife, or casting a vote for any of these persons that have been in Zanu-PF, and they are all causing all the kind of problems we are seeing. When Mnangagwa is fired, that is an advantage for everyone. I mean, Zanu-PF is self-destroying itself. So people must not lose hope in an election delivering change in this country.
Every time there's an election in Zimbabwe, the opposition cries foul and claims that it was a rigged election. Do you think next year will be any different?
We know that the ruling party, Zanu-PF, will always attempt to rig elections. But with the current voter registration process, and the amount of young people that are entering the political terrain, there should be no room for any form of rigging. What will happen next year is that millions of Zimbabweans will go to the polling stations and will vote out Zanu-PF. I mean, how else do you expect Zimbabweans to react to this current scenario? We are not so stupid. We are not different from other people in the world. How do you expect Zimbabweans next year, 2018, to go on and vote for Mugabe, who has been around for 38 years. For a person who wants to impose his wife as a leader. I mean, there's no chance for that. So, rigging or no rigging, next year, Zimbabweans will vote against Zanu-PF.
All right, in the meantime, what happens now? Emmerson Mnangagwa, the fired deputy, says apparently that he fears for his life. Given the stance of the military, of the veterans, are there any fears of a possible coup and real ructions before those elections?
There is no chance of a coup, and it is not an issue that Mnangagwa feels unsafe in this country. He has been part of leadership since 1980. He has not participated in creating a country where people can get into office, get out of office. Why should he feel unsafe merely by being out of the office of the vice president? I mean, we have been living as opposition people, as activists and so forth. We have lived in this country through thick and thin, and all Zimbabweans are living in this country with all the difficulties that are coming. I don't see why Mnangagwa must feel unsafe. And I don't see why any member of the army must decide at this point in time to stage a coup. Any sensible Zimbabwean, whether in the military or outside the military, must ensure that there will be free and fair elections next year. There's no business of the army intervening. So there's no reason anyway to intervene.
Emmerson Mnangagwa reportedly saying that he will come back and lead Zanu-PF. Is there any different scenario from what you're saying? It sounds like he wouldn't be seen as a potential opposition leader even.
He's not going to do that. I'm not sure whether the statement attributed to him has been made by him. We have not seen him in public. He has not appeared on television. We have not seen him. I mean, if he is a leader, we should see him walking. He should address press conferences. I'm sure he can appear on SABC or appear on any other channel. We shouldn't be listening to these ghost voices. Zanu-PF currently is led by Robert Mugabe. And the space for political change in this country lies outside Zanu-PF. And there's no need for a person who has left Zanu-PF to form an opposition party. There are enough leaders in this country who have been in the opposition trenches for ages. If anyone leaves Zanu-PF, they must simply support those who are outside Zanu-PF. Not to just say, I was in Zanu-PF for 38 years, I have been disappointed, I have been fired, I want now to be a political leader. I mean, that should not be the way in which we run the affairs of this country.
All right, thank you very much. Political analyst and activist Lovemore Maduku saying that Emmerson Mnangagwa is like a ghost and he shouldn't come back and try and challenge as an opposition leader, but the savior for Zimbabwe lies with those opposition parties, not the current ruling Zanu-PF.